Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are some of my favorite games of all time. Certainly some of the most basic favorite games of all time opinions you can possibly have, but man, I can't help it. Say whatever you will, this is some of the finest 1-2 punches of platforming with incredible vibes you could possibly ever get. And I'm just so excited that now in 2025 I have an additional physical that I can put next to the weird 3D All-Star physical, and I also got the Mario Galaxy pre-order coin from 2007. I got a lot of Galaxy stuff. Naturally, I've been playing a whole lot of Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, regardless of its new home on the Nintendo Switch. Quite frankly, you can pull me aside at any point in my life, and yeah, I will have recently been playing Mario Galaxy 1 or 2. I love these games so much. But I figured, hey, it's the 40th anniversary of Mario, the 40th anniversary of the big Italian man. Let's celebrate and rank every single galaxy between both adventures. It's low-hanging fruit for these games, but screw it, I want to do it anyway. 42 in Galaxy 1 and 49 in Galaxy 2, 91 in total. It seems like a bit of a daunting task, but once again, I've played each of these games a dozen times each. I know these places like the back of my mustachioed hand. So much so that honestly, even at the bottom of this list, I truly don't hate any level of these games. It's just that some of them are very clearly better than others, you know? Not the most original idea under the sun, but I'm also uploading this right after my birthday, which was October 16th, so this is just me. This is now just purely me making this video that I want to make, so welcome New Galaxy! And other quirky things to say to your local Mario Galaxy obsessed friends or something. I don't know, start the list up. But first, it's ad read time! Oh, and you're gonna like this one, trust me. Have you ever heard of this company, Cook & Becker? Well, they are an international art gallery and book publisher focused on producing really high quality video game art books, art prints, and more. And now, as this franchise is entering its 4th decade, Rayman is getting an official art book in collaboration, of course, with Ubisoft. Into the Glade of Dreams, the art and design of Rayman explores every stage of life of the titular character and his imaginative world. You got early concept art, his pixelated beginnings, the beautifully painted worlds of Origins and Legends, and even a look into the future of Rayman. Ain't that something? Honestly, it's pretty fantastic. Available in both a standard edition as well as a pre-order exclusive collector's edition with some goodies, Cook & Becker has created the ultimate deep dive on the entire Rayman franchise here, making it the definitive story and celebration of our limbless hero Rayman. Don't miss out on that time exclusive collector's edition, but if you're watching after the campaign has ended, you can still pick up the standard edition, no problem. Pick up your copy and help support the channel over at bit.ly/RaymanAntDude all caps, or click the link in the description and use the code RayDude at checkout for a 10% discount. I was never gonna say no to promoting the future of Rayman, are you kidding me? That's so exciting. Thank you so much for Cook & Becker for sponsoring today's video, and now, back to another platforming hero that's just Italian instead of French. Coming in as the worst galaxy between both Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Stone Cyclone Galaxy. What a waste of a slot in the bonus world of Galaxy 2, huh? There are multiple components of Galaxy 2 that are just straight up remasters of existing level designs from Galaxy 1, as well as a few other parts of other Mario games, but just a segment from Beach Bowl Galaxy in the bonus world of Galaxy 2 after you've already beaten the game? Even with the introduction of a brand new mission with the Silver Stars, this doesn't take anything away from the fact that this is really the only time in the entire game I looked at a galaxy and went, man, we really wasted time on this one, huh? The other common contender for worst galaxy in these games goes to Sling Pod Galaxy from Galaxy 1. As you'll see as we talk more about Galaxy 1, I am a big fan of the more space-themed levels that are just a whole bunch of things thrown about to make it really feel like you're traveling in space, but attaching just the Sling Pod idea, where if you get the angle slightly wrong, that's it, you're dead? Yeah, not a fan. Not a whole lot to do in this one either. It's just, you know, it comes and it goes, that's about it. The only benefit that puts this at not the final slot is for some of the later Hungry Lumas that need a whole bunch of star bits. This is a decent area to grind them out. Doesn't mean it should go any higher than the 90 spot, but there is at least that. After these first two, at least going forward, all of the galaxies you're gonna see have some substance, have some defining character value, and have something kinda unique going on. But for a franchise with 91 different major stages, only having two that are like kinda bad That's not that bad. Coming in at 89, we have Snowcap Galaxy from Galaxy 1. Sometimes the placement of these galaxies on this list comes down to where they appear in the game. This very simplistic, snowy structure is in the final dome of the game, more specifically the Hungry Luma right outside it, but this is one of the final challenges in the game. I feel like the only thing that's really appealing is that the snow physics are neat. I don't even think it's really snow-like. It's just neat that there's a whole lot of particles around here and you can push them and then they stay that way. Cool, man. At least the Star Bunnies are back. I kinda dig them, I guess. I'll give Flip Switch a bit of a benefit. Despite it being a not that great of a stage, it's really short and it's such a very basic idea. At least it's the first inclination of, hey, not every galaxy in this game is gonna be a big, grand, sweeping, multi-star adventure. There's gonna be a lot of micro challenges in this game as well. Cool, that's a decent introduction, I guess. It's just a very basic, boring idea that you're in and out in 30 seconds. The flip switches show up in so many different areas of the game, and most of the time, they appear as little areas inside of the bigger galaxies. So having an entire galaxy just to kind of show off that, yeah, the gravity idea, you can go on either side and you're not gonna fall. Cool, I already got that in the first stage. Quick, it's simple, but doesn't leave that much of an impression. You can't wait to get onto the next one. A lot of the same can apply to Hurry Scurry Galaxy as well over in World 2. You're not dealing with the flip switches this time around, but now you're dealing with these platforms that when you step on them, they will slowly start to shrink. But the whole traversing multiple sides of a planet idea to show off how the gravity works is here as well, and the only benefit that this stage has over the last one is you're collecting the musical notes that play a little bit of a jingle. That's fun. I don't even think the game itself classifies this as a separate galaxy, but regardless, Grand Finale is such a poor reward for fully completing Mario Galaxy 1 2 times, once with Mario and once with Luigi. This is the reward? Shameful. Galaxy 1 has one of the strongest openings of all time with the Star Festival and you running to the castle. It's great stuff, but to just traverse the land again and collect 100 purple coins? Once again, after beating the game twice, is pretty lame. It's only not lower on this list because the vibes are immaculate. You will never hear me talk smack about this. I feel like this is the best exterior to Peach's Castle of all time. I just wish there was something better to do in it. There are so many different water sections in Super Mario Galaxy, so when you make a dedicated planet to one with the Drip Drop Galaxy, you gotta do something that has a bit more pizzazz, you know? You're just exploring underwater here, and there's giant eels, and you gotta take the shells and destroy a few of the eels. That's it. You've already been doing similar stuff in the game before this. Outside of there being a sunken airship, maybe that has something to do with the continuity of the game because you saw the airships that were guarding King Caliente in the first world. I don't know, I'm really grasping at straws here. Drip Drop is kinda whatever, but at least the big penguin is here. Once again, a lot of this placement comes down to where this galaxy appears in the game. Battle Belt Galaxy being one of the final levels in the main game, just an enemy gauntlet, with no gimmicks otherwise, it's pretty disappointing. I feel like the only part of this section that's kinda neat is when you go inside the Jack O'Goomba planet, and then you can see the Jack O'Goomba face in the background. That's like the only cool thing. And then if you want to go on a different pathway, you're just fighting Gobblegut again, but now with more obstacles. Something else that the game likes to do is reuse boss fights, but now it's more dangerous. But for this near end of the game challenge level, I would expect a little bit more. At the very least, Boss Blitz Galaxy in World S, while also as a gauntlet, this time of bosses, would be otherwise pretty uncreative for this game, but I'm gonna give it a little bit of a benefit. They're all bosses from Galaxy 1. That's cool. A lot of Galaxy 2, of course, are just reusing assets from Galaxy 1, so they wanted to use one of their Galaxy slots and do a bit of fan service for Galaxy 1 fans. Cool. Throwing all of the bosses into one area, I don't hate it. If anything, then it becomes a bit of a disappointment because they could have gone more all out with this. They could have put more bosses in here. There's only 5, 2 of them being Dino Piranha. No love for my boy Baron Burr, or Top Maniac, or Tyrantox? That's a shame. You bros will be missed. One of the strongest ideas for platforming in the Galaxy games is the whole idea of you can't really see what you're platforming on unless you're right next to it or you wait for a specific moment to see the platforms, and then hey, Flash Black Galaxy does that, but as the final unlockable stage in the game all the way in World 6, it's fine, but there's nothing that really stands out, you know? We've already seen this idea in other galaxies earlier on in both games. And at least with the introduction of Yoshi, there are some areas where you have to use him in order to see what you're platforming on. Here, all the way near the end of the game, we're doing a very basic, just the light's gonna flash every couple seconds and now you can move for a little bit before standing still and waiting for the light to flash again. Not a terrible challenge, but definitely one of the most uncreative areas in the series. Ah, here we go, one of the fabled gimmick levels in Super Mario Galaxy, Bubble Breeze Galaxy. There are multiple gimmicks in both of these games that are very clearly just meant for Nintendo to spread their wings and use the Wii Remote in as many creative ways as they can. You lose a lot of that luster when you play the game in more modern forms on the Nintendo Switch, but honestly, even going back to the Wii, it just becomes a kind of tedious and slow point-and-click minigame. I like the kind of poisonous swamp aesthetic, but my favorite part of this galaxy is there's one area where you can do a backflip in a really nice way and skip a good chunk of the level. If one of the best parts about your level is like, hey, I can skip a lot of it, I think I'm enjoying it for the wrong reasons, you know? So we'll go ahead and knock this one out as well. Coming in at number 80 is Bubble Blast Galaxy. At least the placement here makes sense. The trial galaxies in Galaxy 1 being harder forms of the gimmick stages that you already experienced in the game. I like that idea, so you take Bubble Breeze, you make it more difficult, you have 5 different micro challenges, all with the bubble mechanic, and now it's just as tedious, but it's longer now. And I give it extra points for having some challenge, but quite frankly, I would believe anybody who says they like this galaxy worse, because it takes more time, and you can't skip anything. Your mileage may vary with this bubble mechanic, but I think it's very apparent why this is not something that returns in Galaxy 2. If you eliminate the original panning shot of the cave you're about to enter that is a giant fish, Big Mouth Galaxy has next to nothing go for it. The penguin wants a golden shell so you can open this treasure chest, go from point A to point B, get the golden shell, go back to point A. It takes a couple minutes, and the only cool part is when you dive up in the water, you see there's a gap, you gotta jump into the gravity-defying water, get the shell and go back down. That's kinda neat, but really nothing special. And also Captain Toad is in the chest. How'd he do that? He could have died. In essence, I really like Gateway Galaxy's existence. It's the place where you start this grand adventure, and as a starting point, it leaves such a really cool, strong impression. Mario wakes up after the castle gets taken into the sky, you discover a new subspecies of bunnies and chase them around, you get to explore entirely different planets in succession for the first time ever, you get the introduction to Rosalina, such a strong opening, and you never get to see it for the entire game until you return to it, and then it's just a purple coin challenge with the red star flying power-up, which is not even all that fun. It's not like the flying power-up is bad, but this is the only time in the game it's here. Oh, sorry, that's not true. You can also use it in the hub world, the Comet Observatory. Yeah, like Grand Finale, we have a super cool set piece, and they didn't reach their challenge potential. That's unfortunate. Much love to Rosalina, though. I love you. Yeah, I'm sorry about your past, but I love you so much. You're the greatest. Time to knock out another major gimmick in mass. Hey, when you hold the Wii Remote upright, it's like a joystick from the arcades. So what if we made a bunch of levels that did that? Does that sound fun? It's okay. I mean, I think I like it more than other people do, but it's okay. The very first time you see it is in Rolling Green Galaxy. You simply roll it from point A to point B in this glorified golf course. There are a few holes that you have to jump over, but as someone who was fine with motion control gimmicks on the Wii back in the day, it's a decent introduction to this mechanic, but I'm looking for some challenge, you know? And it was really cool to see that unlike the bubble blowing, the rolling does reappear in Galaxy 2, and for World S, you get to travel on Rainbow Road on the ball. That's kinda cool. This is fan service. It does make more sense to be in World S, a reward for playing through the entire game. Rainbow Road in a main Mario game. I like it. But once again, the challenge is almost non-existent. I at least do enjoy the purple coin challenge because you have to get 100 of 110 purple coins that are on the map, and you may fail a couple times. I almost think that's a good thing. But as we travel back to Galaxy 1 to the Trial Galaxy section, we have Rolling Gizmo Galaxy. And finally, I will give the game credit, it does see this gimmick to its potential in this first game. It's no longer a very basic Super Monkey Ball course, there's actual platforming that you have to do here as well. That even with analog controls, you gotta pay attention because it's very easy to be knocked off. Throwing bombs in your way when you're on a momentum-based ball, that was devilish work. I also like the aesthetics of Rolling Gizmo a lot. It really is just a whole bunch of gizmos slapped together to make some amorphous creation. But for an unhinged gimmick like the ball rolling, makes sense to me. But yes, that means I believe that Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy is the best utilization of the ball rolling mechanic between both games. Not only do we have another challenge gauntlet that has similar ideas as the last Galaxy where there are bombs that could potentially screw up your entire day, there's actual variety here. You got a spherical planet, you got the flip switches, you got this linear section where there are saws that are going to be wiping the platforms away on top of the bombs and the Goombas that you're dealing with, and then there's a giant steel chomp that can mess you up, all with this arts and crafts aesthetic. Dare I say, I love this Galaxy for this gimmick. I'm not regretting putting it this low on the list, but it's the best of what they were giving. Bone Fin Galaxy is what happens when you take a Drip Drop Galaxy and give it a little bit of personality that place sorely needed. It's basically the same idea, it's just a giant spherical water planet. However, there's a unique boss fight with King Fin. Look at him, he's a big skeleton fish guy, and he has lights for eyeballs. That's kinda cool. It's basically the same idea as Drip Drop, you just gotta grab shells, shoot them off at the opponents, and then bada bing bada boom, that's it, but at least it's kind of imposing now. So that's kinda cool. It's also the only 1-star planet in the entire game where there's a boss fight, so King Fin, you know, kinda special. And then we never see him again. Rest in peace. You'll see throughout the rest of this video that I am a fan of B Mario as a concept, but Honey Climb Galaxy does nothing for me. The galaxy's placement in the progression of the game is fairly interesting because by this point, you already had one full galaxy that was B-themed, and then the following area of the Comet Observatory has multiple B-themed locations. So Honey Climb acts like a bit of a reminder like, hey, you remember that the B Mario power-up exists? Because you're going to be using it again very soon. And it's just a vertical climb. You do go from planet to planet, and the third one, it gets kind of tricky with the Mandabugs trying to get you, but it's pretty uninspired. You've already done this before, now it's on a smaller scope, you got better stuff coming. Honey Climb is just okay. Upside Dizzy encapsulates the core idea of Mario Galaxy in one centralized location. It's just gravity swapping. Look at the arrows on the wall, that's the gravity you're gonna be going. You make a jump, you change the background, and then boom, now you're going on the ceiling. Cool. But this is World 5 of Galaxy 2. If you played both games to completion, by this point this is so been there, done that, it does nothing really unique to stand out. I really like the castle structure that you see as you're flying into it, even though that has no real bearing on the actual level design itself. And I will give the Galaxy credit, the second mission with the Great Crate Incinerator is like the hardest version of the minigame you can get with the strictest time limit, so at least challenge-wise, it is there, but the core idea of the Galaxy, this far into the game, feels like they could have done a little bit more. And it stings even extra when you go all the way back to World 1 of the game with Right Side Down Galaxy, which not only has the same gravity swapping idea, you have the addition of exposed walls so you can at least see the background and there's some exposed danger there, but there's also these top-down areas. So it's not just a matter of going up and down, but also away from the camera, and that third perspective really gives the gameplay an extra notch. Plus, there's a Great Crate Incinerator here too. It's not as difficult, but hey, it's still here. It's very clear that Upside Dizzy is just Right Side Down too, and even though they both share the same idea, Right Side Down does just a little bit more and makes it a little bit better. I'm a big fan of the sunny beach aesthetic whenever it shows up in these games, but Sea Slide Galaxy, while fun, does kinda overstay its welcome. The first two missions of this big loop-like structure are basically the same. For the first mission, you're chasing after this big oaf of a fish guppy, and the second mission, you're racing against a bunch of penguins. It is more or less the same thing twice. And the third mission, where you have to find the 5 silver stars of Sea Slide, you begin to realize that, oh, there's a lot to this area. Exploring every nook and cranny of this stage does take quite a while, especially when the comet missions start to show up and then you gotta go for the purple coins. It's the most tedious purple coin gathering challenge in the whole game. Not the only one, but certainly the one I dread the most. I don't hate Sea Slide, but I definitely spend way more time in here than I would like to. Hey, it's time to get a little bit spooky. Here we have Boo Moon Galaxy. Of course, there's a bunch of haunted house levels throughout not only the Galaxy games, but the entire Mario franchise, and here the gimmick is as such. You got the return of the snake blocks from Mario World. Off in the distance, you see a crescent star, and then boom, you get to travel on it for like 2 seconds to get the star chips and move on. The name Boo Moon doesn't really have a lot of relevance, but hey, having another Boo-themed level, who can say no to that face? Who doesn't love the boos? I love the boos. Any stage with the boos, I'm a fan. Especially when you get to the big rising picture book planet right at the very end of the first mission, the background is absolutely gorgeous, one of the best set pieces in the entire game. And then you get the joy of seeing the return of Boo Mario in a side-scrolling segment? That's kinda cool, right? The only reason it's this low on the list, this is an instance where I kinda wish there was more. I don't think there's enough of this stage. I could definitely use a whole lot more. Just when I'm getting around to loving it, we're done. It almost feels like this bonus galaxy from Galaxy 1, Boo's Boneyard, would fit in really well as the third mission of Boo Moon. Because again, we got Boo Mario in a side-scrolling segment, but it's a race. against the spooky Speedster. It's amazing how much I now love this character more than any other typical Boo, just because he has a cool little helmet on and you race him. He's fun. It's definitely the inferior of the Boo Mario races because you're bumping into the walls all the damn time, at least I am. But I at least appreciate the change in perspective. Spooky Speedster would also not show up in Mario Galaxy 2 and also hasn't been seen since. And I'm not happy about that, that's actually kind of sad. Mario Squared Galaxy, once again a Super Mario Galaxy 2 return of something from Super Mario Galaxy 1, but at least they do change things up quite a little bit, and it does add quite a substantial challenge. One of the best parts about Toy Time Galaxy from Galaxy 1 was the 8-bit Mario they get to explore on top of, and here, not only is there now lava, but instead of going for 5 silver stars, now you have to touch all of the brand new flip switches. And yes, with the little cinders chasing after you and the sentry beams trying to attack you, it can be kind of stressful. And very much to this galaxy's benefit, there's a second challenge where you go to the inverse side and travel on top of Luigi, going for every single one of these 100 purple coins, and you gotta do it in 2 minutes, and this is stressful as well, but in the best way. Once again, this is a very late game challenge all the way up in World S, and I think the challenge is very much warranted. This is a fun one to go to, and even though it's not original, it is still pretty sweet. And hey, speaking of sweet, Sweet Galaxy from Galaxy 1. This is just a good old-fashioned platforming gauntlet where the platforms are conveyor belts and you gotta make sure to jump over the circles that have been eaten out of the floors. The walls are cake, you see forks in the distance. You hear a rearrangement of the athletic theme from Mario 3, something that at this point we haven't heard in quite a while, and seeing all of these bright and wacky colors in the same world that introduces the more toned down Good Egg and Honeyhive Galaxy, this was such a nice refresher to let you know that yes, even though Galaxy 1 is going to be more space themed, of course, the vibrancy is here as well. Big fan of Sweet Galaxy. But yeah, of course, Sweet Mystery Galaxy from Galaxy 2 is just that turned up so many notches, and as a result, it's the better of the two. Look at that, we got unfolding pancakes. If I had any complaint about Galaxy 1, it was the lack of those, and I'm so glad they're here in Galaxy 2. There's just so much more going on. The level is substantially longer, the environment's surrounded by so many more desserts. I really like the Choppa enemies. Who doesn't love the Smeeches enemies? Look at them. And of course, we have the Bulb Berry power-up for Yoshi as well. This little power-up unveils a circle around Yoshi that slowly starts to shrink in, and only in that surrounding area is a place that is a tangible platform. So you gotta rush and get the next berry, otherwise you're gonna die. I really like this power-up. You're gonna see it a few more times in this video, and it is the final beautiful candle on top of this beautiful cake that is Sweet Mystery Galaxy. Sorry for the bad puns, that's all I could come up with. Matter's Splatter Galaxy is the reason I'm not a big fan of Flash Black Galaxy. In essence, it's basically the same idea. 2D and 3D platforming where you don't see every single platform in front of you, and you simply have to wait and bide your time for the platform to show up and nail your jumps in the tiny window that you're afforded. But it all comes down to the presentation, and I believe Matter's Splatter Galaxy just leaves a stronger one. Getting to see the light droplets bounce from spot to spot before they extend to the platform in front of you, on top of this crazy angled camera that you're presented, and then you do side-scrolling platforms that are only visible via these spotlights, and then it combines the spotlights with the green goop idea of the start of the stage in another side-scrolling segment, except now it's with Spring Mario, so you have to further time your jumps because you only have a limited window to do the high jumps, and then you have another running away towards the camera section with more spotlight platforming to deal with, and there's just so much more going on here. It's challenging, it's eerie, it's placed properly in the game as the only single-star galaxy in the final hub world, the Garden. Just great stuff. Great stuff all around. Aw man, Twisty Trial Galaxy, also in World S from Galaxy 2, does gain a lot of points despite it also being very unoriginal. Long-term Mario fans are no doubt familiar with these twisting platforms with the little pedestals coming out of them, and then you got the rotating gears, this sort of 8-bit aesthetic going on around you. Like some of the levels in the past, yes, this is just a straight copy and paste of another Mario game, but this time it's Mario Sunshine. So to see something from a completely different Mario game where Mario controls totally differently, damn it, it's actually super refreshing. But even though there's high praise there, despite being in World S, this is an incredibly easy stage. I don't know, man. Sunshine's jank makes any platforming in that game almost a complete nightmare. When you have a more weighted Mario with the option to save yourself with the spin jump, and the additional platforming options of the Cloud Flower in Mission 1 and Yoshi in Mission 2, it's not completely devoid of challenge, but it's damn near close. So much of the reason why it was memorable in Mario Sunshine was because they removed the FLUDD, the main mechanic that made platforming easier. When you're given so many options, I really wish they went with less. The fan service is strong, but I think in this instance, less would have been more. It was almost hard for me to process this, but the beat blocks of Beat Block Galaxy only appear in Beat Block Galaxy. I had been lying to myself for so long, thinking that this was a staple of 3D Mario games starting with Galaxy 2, but that's mostly because 3D Land and 3D Worlds do so much with them. This is the only time in Galaxy 2 they show up. And that's a shame, because what's here is pretty damn solid. This is a bare bones platforming idea we've seen as far back as the Mega Man games on NES, but hey, the platforms are there, suddenly they're not there, you gotta time your jumps to the beat of the music, and sometimes not even just the platforms, the enemies on said platforms go along with the beats as well. That's kinda cool. And even though the primary challenge is done with in only a few minutes, at least there is a second mission with silver stars and double time that doubles the speed of the beat blocks, making things inherently more difficult. It's a really fun time, and later Mario games would do a lot more cool things with this idea. Hell, it even showed up in Captain Toad. I can't believe it only shows up in Galaxy 2 once. Hightail Falls Galaxy is a delightful yet very stressful galaxy. The introduction of the Dash Pepper. When Yoshi eats this, he goes super fast like Sonic the Hedgehog. You're going up steep ramps, you're going up entire 90-degree angles, all to the tune of a remix of the athletic theme from Super Mario World, which is a banger song, and then when you're using the Dash Pepper, it goes even faster, adding to the stress. This is a fun time. It's just, God, I died a lot my first time through. For being a gimmick introduction stage, there's actually quite a lot to it. It's not just the ramp and the 90-degree angle. You got disappearing platforms from under you, you gotta make sharp 90-degree turns, you gotta make a sharp 180 U-turn, and if you're doing your due diligence and collect enough coins, there's even a hungry Luma that when you feed him, you can go onto this other planet where the skybox turns pink, which is really nice and atmospheric, and then you find a bunch of these, Kleptoad guys. They're called Kleptoads. They only show up in this galaxy. Like, this is the only time in both games they show up, and they're adorable, but that's it. So, that's pretty memorable, I guess, right? Here we have the very first ever Bowser or Bowser Jr. galaxy on this list, Bowser Jr.'s Airship Armada. The idea of giving these characters their own unique spotlights with their own unique galaxies to take a lot of the familiar structures that we're used to, but wrap them all up in a nice ominous package with cool ominous music in the background. You're gonna see many boss levels on this list, but Airship Armada itself, I don't know, it's just kind of okay. You start on one airship, you shoot over to a second airship, and then there's an automatic platform, and then it's boss fight. No crazy galaxy bending mechanics. The only thing that's kind of interesting is the cannon mechanic because you're pointing at the screen to aim where you want to go. That's kind of nice, I guess. And the boss battle's fine, you're just throwing Koopa shells at it. It's not a bad galaxy by any means, but it's using none of what Super Mario Galaxy is best at. When Mario Galaxy 1 released, the airships had been absent for such a long time, and this was their first 3D debut, so I get it, but in retrospect, certainly the least interesting of all the boss galaxies in these games. Sorry, Bowser Jr., your best will be coming up later on. One of the very first levels in Super Mario Galaxy 2, Spin Dig Galaxy. There is so much about this galaxy that I love. I really love the music, I like the brand new enemies, the Diggas, and if you look off at the skybox, I like this idea that you're this really small entity inside of this much bigger planetary structure. It's a very cool environment. I just don't really care about the digging power-up all that much, I'm sorry. I understand the point of this galaxy. When you have the drill over your head, you can do a bit of a spin and then go to the opposite side of the planet. I understand, it explains that perfectly, and there are so many other times in this game it gets used to a fuller potential, but I'll be honest, it just never really clicked for me. Like the Silver Star mission, kinda neat in concept, but it's not challenging. Eventually you're gonna get there. It's just kinda whatever to me. Dig a Leg is a pretty cool boss fight though, I really like his design. It is a spiritual successor to the Mega Leg that you see in Mario Galaxy 1, but by condensing it to a 2D space, also lessens the impact on that. I'm talking awfully negatively about this. I do enjoy Spin Dig Galaxy, but it's certainly the only major level in the first world of Galaxy 2 that I'm pretty meh on. Oh hey, Bowser Jr.'s back! Already, and this time, it's at his Boom Bunker. I mean, immediately, the improvements over the previous galaxy are super apparent. The fire planet in the sky makes things look more dangerous, definitely contrasting the more colorful planets that you get to travel across. I definitely enjoy the basic Frogger platforming you're doing on these rotating red and blue platforms, but a prevailing idea through some of these boss galaxies is that they're really short and just a means to show you a pretty cool boss fight. And to this galaxy's benefit, the Boomsday Machine? This is pretty damn cool. This is what I want to see out of these boss fights, man. These crazy giant contraptions that I guess these super geniuses are managing to create all the way up in the confines of space. And by using the cloud power-up, not only is it integral to use these air vents to shoot all the way to the top wall on top of one of the clouds, but it also allows for a lot of cool speedrunning opportunities by just bypassing a lot of the waiting entirely and just doing a bunch of backflip jumps and going onto the clouds and hitting Bowser Jr. before he could ever see it coming. Plus, the level starts off with the crashed remains of Mega Hammer, the boss you fought previously from Bowser Jr., and would you look at that, some continuity in my Mario games. There's even a little dark matter planet, and when you think about just how terrifying dark matter is in this world, you touch it once and that's it, you're sucked into it, never to be heard from again, it's terrifying. But as you'll see later on, there are still much better Bowser and Bowser Jr. galaxies to come. I wish I liked Boulder Bowl Galaxy more than I do. This galaxy in World 2 of Galaxy 2 introduces the rock mushroom that could turn you into a boulder, and then you roll around like a bowling ball with immense power and knock out anything that's in your path. It's so much fun and it shows up in so many different galaxies in the game, and even in Boulder Bowl Galaxy, you get to do something really cool by playing a little bit of bowling. You gotta do some bowling before you get to the next platform. That's fun. However, there are too many segments of Boulder Bowl where you're kind of just activating the boulder power-up, you stop dead in your tracks, you hope that you angled it correctly so you're hitting the right rock or crystal thing and not completely veering off from it where then you have to stop, rotate a little bit, activate the move again, hope that you nailed it that time. It's just a little bit too tedious, I feel. Like that one planet where there were just a bunch of octo guys and you have to take them all out so you can unlock the traversal to the next planet. That's tedious, man. They're all scattering around, it's really hard to get them all in one go. Sometimes you might aim for one and they're gonna dodge at the last second, and then you're gonna hit a fence, and if you already hit a fence before, you're gonna fall over. I do like Rock Mario. Later on, we're gonna have much better implementations of it, but as far as this introduction is concerned, it's just kind of okay. Rolo Dillo's pretty cute though. I got nothing against them, they're great. When we get to World 6 of Galaxy 2, I'm really expecting the world from a lot of these galaxy-bending mechanics. I've played through the entire game at this point, go all out, you know? So when we get to Clockwork Ruins Galaxy, and it's just kind of basic platforming that we've done in other games before, it's not bad. The atmosphere is cool, it's called Clockwork because a lot of these platforms are rotating slowly clockwise, like I totally get it, but outside of this one section where you hit a switch in the area that you were just doing basic side-scrolling platforming on, you're now platforming from a top-down perspective, but with less platforms, everything else is pretty standard. In that top-down segment, actually, you can just cheese the whole thing. You can just do one backflip and a spin, and you can go on top of the platform, bypass any other hazardous jump you can think of, and then move on to more standard platforming where you just gotta dodge hammers and whatnot. Like, it's cool. It's a cool galaxy, and it's certainly not lacking in challenge. I have died to the rolling drums a whole plenty of times. Plenty and plenty of times. But by the time we got to World 6, not gonna lie, I wish they did a little bit more with the spinning platform clockwise idea. Ah yes, here we go, another pure gimmick stage. Super Mario Galaxy 2 gives us gliding missions with this new friendly bird character, Fluzzard. He's adorable, I like him a whole lot. He made his big Nintendo debut at the same time as the Loftwing from Zelda Skyward Sword, and I like to think if these were both in the same universe, they would be best friends. Here in Fleet Glide, we have two different missions, one where you simply have to get to the end in a time limit, and one where you're racing this other bird, the Black Jibberjay character, in the same racetrack. And typically for these gimmick stages, I tend to prefer the more difficult option because I enjoy when you really have to fine-tune your skills to deal with this brand new challenging area, but in this Galaxy situation, it just means there's more walls you can bump into, and it's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. I still like the gliding mechanic, that's why it's here on the list, but the increased challenge just kind of comes in the form of extra annoyance, and that's why sadly, I don't like it as much. As opposed to the debut of this mechanic, Wild Glide Galaxy, it's simply a much more pleasant time. Now you're flying through this giant expansive jungle with a river in there, and there's a giant rainbow that's really nice, the music is super charming. Simply having more room to stretch your wings, pun entirely intended, makes this the more enjoyable of the two. And similarly, two challenges, get to the end and then race the other Jibberjays. The racing is still challenging because there are some shortcuts that you have to hit in order to secure first place, but I believe the challenge level for this galaxy is perfect and did not really need to be quote improved by being more difficult. This gliding gimmick does not go beyond these two stages, that's it, it's two and done. I know many people don't like the gimmick stages, so maybe that's for the best. After two really successful races, I hope this means that the Fluzzard can retire in peace, because look at him. He just looks like a cool dude, man. Loop-de-Loop Galaxy. Hey, look at that, another gimmick stage just after the last one. Wow. Maybe it's just me, but I always thought the ray surfing in Galaxy 1 and the fluzzard gliding in Galaxy 2 to be very similar mechanically, so that's why they're all being lumped into this one section right here, because I always thought they were extensions of themselves. And I don't know, man, I just like gimmicks where you tilt the controller. I think they're fun. Here, you're on top of a manta ray. His name is Ray. How original. And you simply gotta go through one lap of this twisting and turning water racetrack. There's not a whole lot of challenge here because there's no one else you're racing against, so unless you're really impatient, which quite frankly, a lot of us are, that's why so many of us fall off this stage while we're going through it, it's a pretty straightforward and easy time. But for me, I still love this galaxy because I really enjoy as I'm racing on the water, I'm looking inside the water and I'm seeing a bunch of fish floating around. Aren't they really curious and annoyed that I'm racing on top of this? And then once I'm done with the race, where does the manta ray go? You know, the only sustainable platform is like way off in the middle here with this big old penguin. Is the manta ray just kind of chilling there for the rest of the time? I don't know. They could have done infinitely more things with this idea, but I'm not gonna lie, one of my favorite challenges in Mario Galaxy is getting the best time I possibly can while never letting go of the acceleration. It's so much fun, and then you got the one ramp that you're jumping off and you can get some sick air, the camera pulls back for a second. Oh, it's pretty cool. But yes, here we go, Loop-de-Swoop Galaxy. This is what I want out of my gimmick stages that make a grand return. Over in the Trial Galaxies, once again, we have a much more difficult version of the race we did at the start of the game. It really is just the same idea, but more. There's more twists, there's more turns, there's more crazy ramps that you're jumping off of. It's still an incredibly barren environment, you know, surrounding the racetrack, but just by proxy of me continuing to want to do as best as I can without taking my foot off the pedal, and then there's tighter turns, you got one big old loop-de-loop in there, which the first one was called loop-de-loop, but there wasn't actually a loop-de-loop in that one. There's actually a loop-de-loop in this one. It's fun. It's just a pretty fun time. But with that, that is also the final primary gimmick of Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. We're done. There are no more crazy gimmicky galaxies throughout the entirety of this list. Some I really enjoyed, some I enjoyed not as much, but there are many reasons why these predominantly lay over in the bottom half of this list. There are just so many other galaxies in these games that are as strong as they are without relying on crazy controller gimmicks. And this change is about to take place as we unveil entry 50 on this list. That's pretty exciting. Throwback Galaxy. You know, the most original of all the stages. What can I say? I'm a big sucker for fan service. Of course, the return to Whomp's Fortress from Mario 64. Who isn't going to get a burst of serotonin with this, you know? It's not a complete one-to-one recreation. There's no owl in the tree. That's very upsetting. And it is incredibly easy. They add no challenge to the base formula with the original mission, so much so that when I took out the Whomp at the top of the fortress, I was worried that was it, like you're really not going to do more than that? But then we have a brand new boss fight with the return of the Whomp King, and he even says the same dialogue he did back in the day. That's so sick. And getting to return to this stage and do a little bit more exploration with the silver stars, it's a really fun time. But I think its placement on this list comes down to me being selfish. You called it Throwback Galaxy. There are a few other galaxies in Galaxy 2 that return to previous areas. You're only going to do one level from Mario 64? There are areas of both games that you get to explore a gigantic landscape that all take place as part of multiple planets for singular missions. The entirety of Whomp's Fortress is honestly pretty small. You could have thrown in Tiny Huge Island, you know, you could have thrown in Princess Peach's Secret Slide. Hell, you could have just recreated Mario 1-1. Really take the idea of Throwback and stretch it as thin as you possibly could. But instead, one level that is really fun this far into the game. It's nice to have a level that just induces pure joy, but I'm not gonna lie, still feels like missed potential. On its surface, Sand Spiral Galaxy doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. You got one corridor where there's dangerous sand they got to avoid, and then you got a bunch of spinning platforms with a bunch of gaps in them. You simply got to get to the center, you get the star, you can give yourself an extra challenge by being Rainbow Mario and just blazing on through it, but that's it. That's the entire galaxy. And it would be lower on this list if the concept of choosing which way you tackle the sand corridor wasn't kinda cool. Which way, Italian plumber man? Do you go for the boom mushroom or do you go for the beam mushroom? And the challenges therein are slightly different depending on which you choose. It's a neat idea. It's kind of unfortunate there's only one mission in this galaxy though, because very clearly it could use a second one, like an actual reason to go back and use the power-up you didn't use the first time. Otherwise you're just going back through it again for no real reason, just to do it. And what, just having fun for the sake of it? Pshaw. Bowser Jr.'s robot Reactor is such a strong first boss galaxy in these games. Like many of the other boss galaxies, there's not much to it. You got one spherical planet and then you warp off to the boss. That first planet may be really small, but I always really did love the whole idea of guiding bullet bills to cages to break them, and doing that on a small spherical planet. It's really quick, but it's a nice challenge. And then you get introduced to Mega Leg, which is a fairly straightforward boss fight, and you know, it's been so long since we've seen this guy, the newness has worn off, but God, it's still so cool seeing a boss fight this big in a Mario game. We're getting Shadow of the Colossus vibes here. You're doing this crazy angled platforming, the camera angles are really neat, and then you're doing more bullet bill guiding to break Mega Leg's brain in two. There's not much here, but it leaves such a strong impression. I love this fight so much, and even though the Galaxy was lower on this list, it's cool to see Mega Leg get his flowers with Dig-a-Leg in Galaxy 2. Who can say no to some good old-fashioned panel swapping? Here we got Flip Swap Galaxy. The premise is simple, one color is visible, and then you do a spin, the other color is visible. I am such a sucker for platforming where you manipulate when the platforms can change, and this is another mechanic you would see a lot more of in future games like 3D Land and 3D World, but for the introduction of this mechanic, this is the first time we see the red-blue panels. It's pretty cool. It's short, but I like it here. Mostly comes down to the Chain Chomp infinite spawners that pop up too, and I guess they're like sentient enough to change angles on a dime. You would think that they're just gonna go straight ahead, but then sometimes they just go, oh no, we're gonna chase you now. And that's kind of terrifying on your first time through, oh my goodness. But it's located really early on in World 1. You're gonna see a whole lot more of this challenge in Galaxy 2. And then you got the purple coin challenge that you have to deal with, already putting you to the test. This is another example of Mario Galaxy mastering the whole idea of introducing you to a brand new mechanic. Can't wait to see it again very soon. Now don't get confused, here we have Flipsville Galaxy, which you're doing some more flipping, but now it's kind of different flipping, because instead of the platforms flipping, you're flipping. We did some of this stuff already in Spin Dig Galaxy, but by either using a drill, or in the first mission, just a good old-fashioned ground pound, you go through the floor, suddenly you're walking on the ceiling. Super simple idea, but something about the house aesthetic on top of all this takes a gimmick that by this point in these games, you shouldn't be that surprised by, and makes it incredibly memorable. Why didn't more galaxies in this game use a house idea? That's so cool. Especially when you look off in the skybox and you're seeing the up and down arrows to help remind you of what direction you're going. But just visually, it's a really cool look. Plus we got the introduction of brand new squishy looking bad guys, the Pup Dozers. They're kind of adorable and similar to the Koopas from Mario World. When they're on the opposite side of the grate, you can blast them into the unknown. And that's all to inevitably challenge you to the big boss of the galaxy, the Glam Dozer. This thing is hideous and needs to be put down. There's another side-scrolling drill segment in this stage too, but each segment of this room has different gravity, so now it becomes a bit of an actual puzzle on how to get the silver stars as efficiently as possible, or the 100 purple coins in Mission 3. Still not the hugest fan of this mechanic, but for what it is, this mechanic has a very strong showing over in Flipsville. Ooh, it's time to get spooky in the Haunty Halls. Once again, big fan of Boo levels in Mario games, big fan of the Glowberry for Yoshi. I always adored the Boos as enemies, and now we have the introduction of Octoboos and the Mattermouths. Such great additions to the family. And you have just a really nice string of really tightly timed platforming. Staying in the platform in between the two dark matter sectors, traveling through a haunted house while maintaining full Glowberry, and then you're being chased by a big old Mega Boo. None of this is necessarily difficult by any means, but the vibes are immaculate. I love the Boos, Haunty Halls. I really like my time here. Alright, we're at the halfway mark. How do you think I'm doing so far? Think I'm doing okay? Am I too bold in my placement for Throwback Galaxy being way too low? Maybe Stone Cyclone? Maybe I just gave that far too much disrespect. It should be higher. That's a crazy take. That's an absolutely crazy take. But save your takes. We got 40 plus more entries to go. Honey Bloom Galaxy is such an interesting place to me. It really felt like they just had to put the Beam Mushroom in here somewhere. Like, okay, we already have the assets for it. We have to make a Beam Mario segment in here somewhere. And to break up your expectations, it's in a 2D segment. It definitely limits what you can do mobility-wise, but I really like that they didn't try to just take Honeyhive Galaxy and force it into just 2 dimensions. Now we're dealing with more of a garden here. There's plants all over the place. You eventually get to bounce on some berries. There's a relatively hidden area that you might miss your first time through to get the second star. And it's just a nice, pleasant time. That's all it needed to be. If we're gonna retread an idea from Galaxy 1 and put it in a game where there are so many more 2D segments, why not go about it this way, you know? Not a whole lot to it, but Honey Bloom definitely exceeded my expectations. Ooh, back to what I love so much about Mario Galaxy 1, the vibes. Deep, dark galaxy. From the second you touch down in this land, seeing this beach area with the beautiful sunset in the background, it's an aesthetic you don't see super often, so while it's here, I'm loving it. And there's just so much beyond it. You go through this gate, and not only is there platforming above the water, you go underwater, and there's more sea life in here than you would expect in any other water segment of this game. But hey, it leads to a ghost ship. Another gimmick I'm a big fan of, and here you get to fight Camilla. You know, the Camilla fight's fine, that's kind of whatever, but hey, the rest of the area is really cool. And this area being as big as it is makes it really fun to do the prankster comment later on to get all the purple coins. I like it here a lot. And then for bonuses, you got the shrinking Gateway Galaxy planet. That's a really fun time. And then you got the Watermelon planet where you're just bouncing a whole bunch of balls inside this glass dome, and then once you break them all up, there's a watermelon now. Okay, dude, whatever you say. Deep Dark is an odd place. It tries to do so many different things in one condensed area, and I think it succeeds at it. Not a whole lot of cohesion, I'm gonna be honest with you, but hey, still love it, you know? They got the flood heads too that shoot water and fire at you. That's just neat. Another aesthetic I wish we saw a lot more of, a typical desert area, but instead, it's kind of at night. It just looks really cool. There are obviously so many desert areas in the Mario franchise, and there's still some to be made in this list, but I appreciate still managing to squeeze some new ideas into this classic formula. Seeing this fast sand current in this tube format, surrounded by a bunch of fireballs, with proper land sometimes in between as a place to cool down after such a terrifying trek. Doing a classic slide but towards the camera, and you're avoiding these romp enemies. They're called romps, and they're adorable because they're smiling at you. It would be way worse if they were angry at you like the thwomps were. I would argue this is one of the most memorable set pieces in the entire game. You got an actual difficult boss fight with the Squizzard because not only is he terrifying looking, but trying to find a good vantage point with the Fire Flower power-up that's about to run out at any time and just lay them all out before he throws something at you and ruins your entire plan, that's a really fun fight. And then the psychopaths on Nintendo also wanted to bring back the Sandbird from Mario Sunshine. Oh, and that sucks. I mean, it's not that difficult this time around. You just got to avoid a couple things. It's not as much of a trauma dump as it was in Mario Sunshine, but I still see the Sandbird, and I just get a whole wave of bad memories. So, you know, outside of that, Slipsand is a really good desert galaxy. God, I hate the Sandbird so much. I could never say no to a good old-fashioned snow level. Here we have Freezy Flake. There's always something so cozy to me about a good old-fashioned snow area, you know? You start off with a cabin on a planet, and that's just cute, and then you go to the first main planet, and there's a bunch of snow sculptures of everything, including a big Bowser that you get to burn. That's satisfying. But where this really cemented itself as a galaxy I love is when they introduce lava into the mix. We will see this way later on in the video, but the combination of fire and ice, I always loved that. It lends itself really easily to really fun platforming, but also looks really interesting because both things can kill you. The snow can disappear from under you, the little cinder enemies can burn you to a crisp. There's a lot to watch out for. The boss fight is pretty lame. Sorbetti is super easy. There's already rock obstacles in Mario Galaxy that have the same exact format, so now they just gave it a frowny face and called it a boss fight. And it's fine. He looks kind of neat, I guess, but probably one of the weakest fights in the game, I would say. But hey, the chimp is here. Who doesn't love a good old chimp challenge, you know what I'm saying? Good on you, Freezy Flake. You're a cool time. Even though we're not confined to 2 dimensions like we were with Honey Bloom, Honey Hop is still a really fun time, and I think that's just because I really like the B Mario power-up a lot. He's adorable this way, I don't know what to tell you. There's definitely less originality going on here. It really feels like Honeyhive Galaxy, but just shrunken down. You kind of handle a lot of the same beats that you did in that original Galaxy, but in a much faster pace. Once again, it really just felt like they had to shoehorn in some B Mario stuff in here to really fulfill the 120 star limit, but hey, what's here? It's fine, because it's just Honeyhive Galaxy again, but smaller. Except they added balloons. How fun. Avoid the water, sling yourself up with these flowers, rub yourself all over Queen Bee, you know you can't help yourself. It's an incredibly shameless addition to this game, but I still had a fun time. I guess that's what's important, right? We'll be rubbing all over the Queen Bee again soon enough, don't you worry. Call me basic, but the final appearance of Bowser Jr. in the first Super Mario Galaxy with Bowser Jr.'s lava reactor is definitely my favorite, and it's just a typical lava hell scheme. Not a whole lot of creativity going on here, but it's ominous, and that's something that Bowser Jr. does not omit all of the time. By this point of the game, this level is just regurgitating old mechanics just over a bed of lava. We got the return of guiding the bullet bills to glass, we got the return of tennis with the Rocktos enemies, and in a big showing of uncreativity, we have the return of King Caliente, except this time, he's a darker color. It's his spicy return after all. Bowser Jr. ain't even the boss fight here. It's just this guy again, but he's a little bit more angry. As I explain it, I feel like it sounds like I would put this lower on the list, but I just think it really performs well as the final mid-boss level of the game. Bowser has better showings for sure, but Bowser Jr. didn't do such a bad job, but that is his final appearance from Super Mario Galaxy. Bye-bye. Gold Leaf Galaxy definitely deserves a little bit of flack for also being very much not creative, being a complete reskin of another galaxy in this game, just with another color palette, and it would be much worse than its contemporaries if I didn't already like the base planet. I mean, it hasn't even showed up in this list yet, so of course, I like Gold Leaf as well. I'm a sucker for the autumn aesthetic, I'm a sucker for B Mario, and I really like the third mission in particular when they start to have rain clouds that you're able to traverse on top of when you are B Mario. It's a nice change to the typical formula. Kinda. It's just a fun, cozy time over here. Some of the external planets are a little bit different. You got the one Cataquack planet, that's nice, always a fan of the Cataquacks. Also the spherical Star Bunny planet, that's new too, and anything new is nice. But there is a lot of exploring on the base planet. You even climb the side of the tree on the base planet again for an additional star. A lot of this is a retread, but I liked the original planet, so I like it here as well. Didn't bother me whatsoever, and I think it just comes down to me really liking autumn. I think that's really it at the end of the day. Love a forest aesthetic for sure, but a fall forest aesthetic? That's the key to my heart. I'm biased. Even with no queen bee in sight, I still love it here. There's so many iconic moments of the ghostly galaxy from Galaxy 1. Of course, by this point, we've already seen a couple dark levels that have some boos in them, little creepy guys, of course, but this was the first in this galaxy duology. Across all of the missions here, we see the introduction of the Boom Mushroom, which transforms Mario into Boom Mario, and it's damn right adorable. This is also the introduction to Luigi in this game, and saving Luigi in a haunted mansion, it's so nice to see this canonized in an actual Mario game for once, especially when you play as Luigi and then you're rescuing Luigi. Incredible. One of the most lazy things Nintendo's ever done, and I'm so glad they did it. We got the introduction of the spooky speedster, and once again, I love him as well. A race against another Boo, and you're using the Pole Stars. Such a fun race in my opinion. We got the Boulder Geist, which is one of the most difficult fights in the game, so when it comes to the Daredevil run, it's one of the only times in the entirety of Mario Galaxy 1 that I get stressed out, and then to compound that stress, there's the 100 purple coin challenge with the Pole Stars, and I don't know, I don't hate the Pole Stars, so I really enjoy my time here. And the secret objective brings you to the Matter Splatter Mansion. You get to see the Matter Splatter mechanic before you even get to Matter Splatter Galaxy. There is so much claim to fame with Ghostly Galaxy. It is the top ghost-themed level in this list, and I believe it deserves it. Dusty Dune Galaxy may give off the vibe of being just a generic desert level, but there is so much to every single area of this galaxy that really tries to spice up what the typical desert format can accomplish. Like when you first land, you get the white sand you can platform on and you're on a bunch of rocky surfaces. There's the darker, more evil sand that'll suck you in, but if you look off in the horizon, you can see all of these different planets around you that you're about to go and traverse. And this is something that Super Mario Galaxy does a whole lot, but it goes so far in making these levels feel unique, even when in the surface, you feel like you may have done some of these things before. But Dusty Dune is also home to so many different types of pure vertical platforming, something that you don't really see too often in 3D platformers. Yeah, there's a 2D section here for sure, but once you get out of that 2D section, boom, you're climbing a giant tower. You want to go for the secret star? Well, now you got this interesting vertical cylinder thing with sand on both sides, and it's really cool. They have to get all 5 silver stars, but if you do a good backflip, you can jump on top of these walls and traverse on those. That was always fun. You got the emerging vertical tower that's there as well for the 5 different star chips. I really enjoyed that. But one of my favorite challenges in the entire game is hitting this one speedrun switch that pops up some platforms on the other side of the planet, and then you gotta run to one side, go down a hole, and then you gotta go to the other side, go up a hole again, and then boom, you can get your star. Such a fun challenge. I love seeing just how fast I can get it done. Dusty Dune also introduces us to the Cluck Booms, which are chickens that fly and poop out bomb balls, alright? I love it here so much. Dusty Dune is awesome. Here we go back to Bowser Jr. Here we have Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet from Galaxy 2. Mechanically, it is pretty identical to what we saw in Galaxy 1 with the Airship Armada, where the majority of the stage is just an auto-scrolling segment. But for one, there's a lot more challenge because you're on the auto-scrolling platforms a lot more. Aesthetically, while I am a sucker for ominous lava, it is so nice to see so much color in a boss level. Seeing the airships come out of these portals give off the same vibe of the danger of the airships in the first Galaxy, while also having the space vibes of Galaxy, as they should have. It's Yoshi focused, and who can say no to Yoshi? And this is also home to the Mega Hammer, one of the most intense fights in the game. Maybe that's just me, because I always try to speedrun it and see just how fast I can hit his blue glowy nipples and then go to the back and then hit his back blue nipple. The Fearsome Fleet just succeeds at being a mini boss level than many of the other Bowser Jr. stages in these games. And hey, Mega Hammer is actually a Bowser Jr. creation, and he's inside the creation. And once again, no matter how much I like King Caliente, it's really nice that Bowser Jr. is actually a part of the fight, you know? But Bowser Jr.'s time on this list is almost up. There's only one more galaxy in this list. If you're keeping track, you know what it'll be, but we have a couple other galaxies to get to first. Man, I just love some of the Bowser levels in these games, man. Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet is as advertised. It is just a gauntlet of challenges, all based around gravity bending. The whole thing. Immediately, you're going on the wall, and then you're turning the camera again, and then boom, now it's a 2D segment, and now you're going onto the ceiling, and now there's a swimming portion, and now you're doing this crazy gravity bending where you're trying to avoid these spinning fire bars and jumping between these different spherical areas in this side-scrolling segment, and that's kind of hectic because the gravity is all over the place. It can be kind of tough to keep track of, but also very easy to cheese if you do one nice big old backflip. It's just a damn good time, and I'm such a fan of Bowser's introduction here. You think he's not there, the Luma's checking around, and he's like, oh, I don't know what's going on, where is he? And then boom, the big boy shows up. Really makes no sense again why Bowser's so big in this game, but it works, man. It works. Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet for the middle Bowser stage in this game. It's a damn good time. Here we go, back to talking about just straight up good Mario Galaxy vibes, the Space Storm Galaxy from Galaxy 2. Very clearly, this is another one of those stages in Galaxy 2 that takes a lot of influence from another galaxy from Galaxy 1 that we have yet to see in this list, but that influence does not feel lazy whatsoever. For a galaxy like this, I was always taken aback by, once again, the aesthetics. Looking at the dark, murky, and cloudy background, and yet the platforms that you're platforming on are metallic and colorful. In the back of my head, I'm always thinking, what could Bowser possibly be using this for, you know? Like, this has to be for some kind of mechanical purpose, you know? It's a giant robot rocket ship. What is this big man planning, you know? The big cylinder platforming we've done before, but that's always nice to see again. Guiding bombs is something that happens a few times in this game, and I enjoy that as well. We got the return of the Top Men, which are always adorable, and I'm so glad that the second major mission is just to climb a giant Top Man tower. Not just with your pure skill, might I add, also with these switches that slow down time and make everything monochrome. Such a cool effect. Certainly not another collaboration of just a bunch of brilliant ideas that you've never seen before, but Space Storm Galaxy does a fantastic job taking some of those ideas and just polishing the hell out of them. See, now this is such a damn cool area, man, the Starshine Beach Galaxy. Rather than taking a main level from Super Mario Sunshine and straight up porting it into the Galaxy engine, we have a brand new area that is just very clearly inspired, not only by Mario Sunshine with the whole beach and of course the Piantas, but it also got a lot of a strong vibe with the brand new beach level they put in Super Mario 64 DS. No, just me? Okay. What I love about Starshine is just how relaxing and cozy it is. This area is gigantic, and there's really not much in the way of threats. Sure, when you go underwater, of course, those guys are always scary. But most of the time, you're just chilling, man. There's a few things to collect in each of the missions. Go at your own pace. Even when you get the Dash Pepper as Yoshi, you're moving really fast, but still, just have fun. This is a giant beach playground, and for being all the way in World 4, as the game is supposed to be getting a little bit more challenging, it's nice to have an area where you can just sit back, relax, and remember Super Mario Sunshine, the most relaxing game in the franchise. Oh yeah, and Yoshi's here too. And he can kind of go in the water this time. Oh, how time changes your tolerance to water. Alright gang, we're making a second Super Mario Galaxy game. We gotta have Bowser Jr. back with his own stages. Let's make sure that for his first one, we lead on strong. And damn it, they did. Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla is my favorite Bowser Jr. stage between both of these games. You may have heard me in the past how much I like lava being used as a typical ominous aura. That's here. But also, we have the overly colorful mechanical structures that really make a Bowser Jr. stage stand out over a typical Bowser stage. Bowser Jr. is a kid after all. Why not make things look bright and colorful, you know? It's something about exploring the spherical planet that's the combination of the rock structures with the colorful metal structures that make this one of the most iconic set pieces in the entire game, in my opinion. And then also we got the debut of Gobblegut, one of the coolest boss designs in the entire Mario franchise, so much so that they made sure to kill him and turn him into a racetrack in Mario Kart 8. That was cool. But what makes the Gobblegut fight so fun is not only is it satisfying to just destroy the disgusting globules on his body, like it's just kind of vile when you think about it, but him as a character succeeds in the same way the Mega Leg did from Galaxy 1. The first major boss in these games is absolutely gigantic. For Mario standards, these are some of the biggest boss fights he's ever faced. And as far as setting a tone for these adventures is concerned, I think that goes a long way. But it does help that the level preceding it is also very fun. Big ups to Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla. But that being said, this is the final Bowser Jr. appearance of this list. Some of his level designs are certainly iconic, but on the whole, all of his galaxies show up roughly somewhere in the middle of this list, and that feels appropriate. Sad to say, little guy, your dad just does a better job. Cosmic Cove is another one of those galaxies that gets a lot of points for just having a fantastic atmosphere. Say what you will about having a primarily water-based level, starting off on a little bit of a beach and you look off into the sky and it's a nighttime scene, you're swimming towards a waterfall, and these little enemies here, the Snoodles they're called, they may hate that you're passing by, but you know what, they're pretty cute. It's nice to see them even if they want to kill you. But just when you think to yourself, okay, I've done enough swimming for one day, you press a switch and then boom, all of the water turns into ice. And suddenly you're skating on top of it, all of the spider enemies that were there are now frozen solid and you can demolish them. And you can still see a little bit of action taking place under the water. You can't access it anymore, so I don't know how those penguins are going to be getting out, but it's cool to look at. While jumping on icy water, you got this cool other spherical planet with the pink sky where you gotta chase after a star bunny. And then you gotta do some really cool side-scrolling swimming in these pockets of water that are all kind of being guided with these other metallic or maybe plastic tubes. It's just another cool look. Cosmic Cove is filled with really cool looks the entire way through. And then to cap things off, one of the coolest uses of the drill in this game, being able to drill through the center of a planet and completely flood it, another absolutely iconic part of Galaxy 2. Cosmic Cove. One of the better water levels in Mario history. This is great because the entire time I was playing Galaxy 1 and 2 and seeing these giant rolling chomps, I was truly thinking to myself, I really hope we can see the factory where these guys are being developed. Chompworks Galaxy, baby. It fit that very specific need to a T. Making an entire galaxy with a series of challenges all based on these rolling chomps is genius. Because there are already many challenges in this game that are all about guiding enemies to destinations, but never with obstacles and enemies this big and imposing, and you never think just how big they are, and then boom, you take damage. And what? There's a gold one now? And you gotta work on this crazy Rube Goldberg-like puzzle to manipulate all these individual pieces to make sure you can navigate all of these twists and turns, and Chompworks is really cool. And damn it, I'll say it, I think it's really cool that Spring Mario showed up in Mario Galaxy 2, even if it is for only this one specific challenge. Of all the other challenges in this game, this is the only time Spring Mario appears. My hot take is I actually like the Spring power-up a little bit. I really like how you have to really plan out your jumps for every single one, but what's beautiful about it is I'm pretty sure there are good ways that you can manipulate a cool backflip into a wall jump, into a spin, and skip a lot of the portions that need the spring, so hey, if you're not a fan, you could still make a good platforming challenge out of it, and that's a sign of a good level, you know? You can tackle the challenge however you want. For all of the OSHA violations that Chompworks no doubt commits, I still enjoy exploring it, I can't lie to you. Oh, we haven't had one of these for a while, a pure micro challenge-based galaxy, the Flip Out Galaxy, acting as the penultimate galaxy in this entire duology. And if you don't care about collecting the green stars in Galaxy 2, this is the final galaxy. We've already seen so much of the red-blue panels in these games. You jump and you do a spin and suddenly the platforms change and you gotta plan your jumps accordingly. Of course, something you should be used to at this point, but now combining that with wall jumps? Flip Out Galaxy may not be a very long stage, but it leaves a damn good impression for introducing such a challenging idea this late into the game. In future Mario games, this idea would of course be taken further, and if you played those games, this one seems like a little bit of a cakewalk in retrospect, but there are still a few good points where you have to really put your mind to work to make sure you can nail these wall jumps accordingly. Mostly in the second mission, where you have even less time to breathe with the cosmic clones chasing you. This is one of those galaxies where what you see is what you get. There's not a whole lot more to it than that, but for having such a cool challenge and a nice surprise at the end of Galaxy 2, it should be no surprise that this is the best galaxy in the entirety of that final world. Well, outside of the final challenge, but we'll get to that. One of my favorite gimmicks in any Mario game or any platformer really is suddenly you're very small. All the things that were normal size before are gigantic. Good luck. Supermassive galaxy. It's just that. I love it every single time it shows up in like any game ever. And the only thing stopping it from being higher on this list is, damn it, I just wish there was more. Giant Lumas, giant Goombas. Of course there's the big Koopa Troopa planet, which is famous. This is one of the areas we can get infinite one-ups by just constantly jumping on the back of these shells. Another iconic set piece of this game. You got more giant piranha plants, you got giant wigglers you gotta deal with. Realistically, the platforming is nothing special, especially by the time you get to World 4 in Galaxy 2. But I'm just such a sucker for the everything else is now suddenly really big idea. Giant Lumas, man. I love them, I wanna give them a big old stupid hug. Alright, listen, Starshine Beach is cool and all, but it was never gonna come close to the true beach OG, the Beach Bowl Galaxy. A lot of what I love about Starshine is present here as well. It's just a giant beach playground. You got a ton of sandy and grassy surfaces to explore, there's a whole lot to explore underwater, but there are so many nooks and crannies and different vertical layers to the entirety of this area. It's so much more complex, and I enjoy my time here so much more. Getting all of the star chips underwater and figuring out how to get to the giant area in the back so you can do a little bit of platforming and break out the star that's in that glass prison. Finding your way to the secret hidden planet where you have the Cataquacs showing up for the first time in these games, always adore the Cataquacs, and also the introduction of the Ice Flower. We've already seen that in Galaxy 2, there's a switch that completely turns all of the water into ice, but there's something just more fun about becoming ice itself, and only the water you're touching at that very moment is what turns into ice, so suddenly wall jumping off of active waterfalls becomes a lot more exciting. And then for just an additional challenge on top of that, the final challenge is with the Stone Cyclone, which is very cool on its own as its own little microcosm of Beach Bowl Galaxy. Why they brought this back copy and paste style for Galaxy 2, I do not understand. This works really well for one challenge of a bigger galaxy, not its own thing. I also love the purple coin challenge in this area too, man. I'm a big fan of these giant sprawling areas and you have all the time in the world to collect the purple coins. Like, God, I love Beach Bowl Galaxy so much. I've spent so much time here. I love it here. The introduction to Super Mario Galaxy 2, the Sky Station Galaxy. One of the things I'll give Mario Galaxy 2 over Galaxy 1 any day is it definitely starts off a lot stronger. You're not being thrusted into some sort of tutorial area, you do your little side-scrolling segment by the castle, and then boom, first actual level of the game, there you go. The initial planet has a beautiful tease of Yoshi, you know he's coming, but this is Yoshi's house, he's not here yet, he's coming though. In typical level 1-1 fashion, you just have a bunch of really solid platforming on a bunch of grassy surfaces, the music is all bright and triumphant, like, oh man, you're finally playing a new Mario game, the first Mario sequel in forever. Have a good time, everybody. I even like that they kept the tradition, I guess, of having the first boss be just a giant piranha plant, but instead of it being a dinosaur, it's a big old baby, and you gotta spank its butt because it's being mean. It was always weird to me that its butt's like glowing and bulbous, like there's it just looks weird. It just looks weird, a lot of physics going on. This thing has to go. Simple, to the point, exactly what it needs to be for the start of another fantastic game. Number 25 on this list? I think that's justified. As I've mentioned before, Bowser has so many better showings than his son has, and that couldn't be more relevant with one of Bowser's lesser showings despite being this high on the list, Bowser's Dark Matter plant. The concept of the Dark Matter is so terrifying in this game when you really think about it, because when Mario gets hit and takes damage, he does his typical bing bang wahoo, he yells, he loses health a little bit, that's all fine and dandy, but the Dark Matter, this creepy stuff here, you touch it once, you dissolve into nothingness, that's it. Mario never existed, it's terrifying, and it's all over the place here. There's an excessive amount of platforming and traversal over these different 90-degree angles, and with the camera never really adapting to those changes, it really keeps your mind active with all these gravity changes happening at such a rapid rate. It's fairly bare bones platforming, but always there, right under your feet, is certain doom. On as many replays of this game as I've had, it's certainly one of the easier challenges in the game. A lot of my enjoyment comes in the colors that are used in the backgrounds of the gravity swapping portion. I don't know, I think the colorful arrows just really give this a pleasant aura, just by once again being very dangerous. And if it was just that portion, it would be one thing, but I also really enjoy how in Mario Galaxy 1, all of the walks up to Bowser have this white and green checkerboard patterns, and it really feels kind of ominous, like, oh yeah, okay, we got the challenge part out of the way, Bowser's coming. It's just a very easy galaxy, all things considered. It is the weakest Bowser galaxy of Galaxy 1, but it's still a good time. Good on you, Bowser. We're gonna see a lot more of you coming very soon. Here it is, the true final galaxy of this Mario Galaxy duology, the Grand Master Galaxy. Unlocking it sucks. Having to get every single green star before you get this final mega challenge is very annoying. But this is the very first time a Mario game is ending with a massive challenge level, and the impact that that had in the future of this franchise, oh, it's glorious. Because Mario's done this so many times over the years, honestly, this is one of the easier ultimate challenges in the Mario franchise, but it's still really cool. This culmination of so many of the different ideas that you've experienced in this adventure so far, but all condensed in this pretty lengthy level where if you die, there's no checkpoints, you gotta go all the way back to the beginning? Oh dude, even if it's easier than its contemporaries, it's still rough. And you can tell they were worried about making it too difficult, giving you Yoshi at the beginning so you can do some hovering so you don't have to commit to a jump 100%. Same thing with giving you the cloud suit. What better way to make this part that would otherwise be way more challenging? Hey, if you could just spin a little bit, and you'll be fine. As someone who loves platforming challenges, I believe Grandmaster would be a lot better if it removed all of these helpful features, and even with the true final challenge, the perfect run, where now you can only get hit once and that's it, it's still not something I'm super stressing over. I just appreciate now it's playing a lot of music from Galaxy 1 instead. Like, that's cool. It is a really good way to end these games, especially when the end of the first game was the bottom of this list. Dude, no matter what I say, Grandmaster Galaxy is iconic. You take one look at the Whittles from Super Mario Galaxy 2 and try to say one thing negative about them to their face. You absolutely will not do that because we do not slander the Whittles in this house. This isn't the first time in the game we're introduced to the beautiful creatures known as the Whittles, but this may as well be their home, Tall Trunk Galaxy. There's the one minigame in Mario Party 9 where they're watching you chop wood, and oh my god, really, if you think about it, that's sadistic. Two things I'm an absolute sucker for. I've mentioned before, vertical platforming. Not enough platformers do it, so whenever it shows up, I'm a big fan. Just climbing a really big tree is so much fun. Doing some of the cylinder platforming that's endlessly scrolling with a big old fat Yoshi, that's a blast as well. And yeah, having everything tree themed, that's a style of level you never really see, so it's actually pretty damn original. And it's a good thing this isn't the only time in Mario Galaxy 2 this shows up. But man, this Galaxy also gave us the return of a slide in a Mario game with a remix of the music from Mario 64. And the slide has gravity shenanigans too, because you're going in the middle of this giant tree trunk and you can go full 360 around it like it's some crazy Sonic special stage. Dude, the wigglers in this area are annoying as all hell, but I love it all the same. Tall Trunk does hold a special place in my heart, and now it's up to you, the viewer, to predict where the other tree-themed galaxy is on this list, because we haven't gotten to that yet. Oh, but it's coming. You see, they named this Yoshi Star Galaxy because Yoshi's a star. We all know that to be objectively true. I love this, man. When you go to Sky Station Galaxy, you see Yoshi's house, you know he's coming. He's on the box, for crying out loud. And I love that you don't have to wait very long. The second galaxy in the game is Yoshi's Star, the debut of Yoshi in a 3D space where he's not friggin' weird. Similar to a lot of my compliments on Sky Station Galaxy, a lot of what we're dealing with here is not really all that original. It's a bunch of grasslands, very simplistic platforming. We're scaling a mountain on a very small sphere, so the camera's constantly rotating. That's nice, but we have kind of seen that before in Galaxy 1. It all comes down to this being the perfect playground to experiment with Yoshi's new tongue abilities. Being able to aim at multiple things that he can just zap his tongue onto so many things at once. He's been training, man. He's been doing a great job, and oh, it's so satisfying to use. And of course, we get to use the flutter jump as well, which is really fun because for the vertical platforming segments of the final area of this stage, you do have to wait for a lot of platforms to just scroll by and wait for you to be ready for them, but also, if you're really talented, you can just skip past them with the good old flutter jump. It's great stuff. The King Lakitu fight is also, in my opinion, one of the best fights in the game. Just the whole concept of taking the spinies into your stomach and then aiming and shooting them, I always found that to be really satisfying, so to have a boss fight based around that concept, and for it to be as kind of funny looking as this guy is, it's just a satisfying fight all around. But a perfect way to round out this galaxy, the Comet mission, the Rainbow Romp, is so much fun. Just running into every single spiny in a short amount of time. It's a blast, man. Yoshi Star Galaxy is just pure fun. Sky Station does a great job introducing the general atmosphere of Galaxy 2, but as far as just getting you into straight up fun gameplay, that's what Yoshi Star is all about. I like to think I'm pretty consistent in my words here. Here we have Bowser's Lava Lair, the first Bowser Galaxy of Galaxy 2, and one reason why I love this galaxy so much, there's a ton of lava. What a great way to make this feel super ominous. By this point, again, there's nothing here that we really haven't seen before. The Thwomps are here, and that's cool to see the Thwomps show up again. And now, you know, their design is a lot weaker because now there's just a big old glowing circle on their back, so you know exactly where to kill them. But to see the snake blocks, to see the matter mouths, I really love those enemies where if you just miss up your jump, you're just gonna fall into the dark abyss. And something I find to be really cool, the return of the Bowser statues that shoot lasers, which is like a throwback to Mario 3? That's pretty cool. And even right before you get to the Bowser fight, there's flagpoles you can climb on. It's overloaded with nostalgia from start to finish, but the Mario Galaxy staple of really fun camera angles making the otherwise standard platforming just more challenging to wrap your mind over, all to finally see gigantic Bowser in the flesh. This is Bowser's first galaxy in Galaxy 2, and it's a damn good entry point. But we've had the Bowser Galaxy from World 4, we just did the one from World 2, which I guess means all that's left is the final galaxy of World 6 of Galaxy 2, Bowser's Galaxy Generator. While it may not be as difficult as Grandmaster Galaxy as far as a grand final challenge is concerned, Galaxy Generator does a much better job consolidating so many different mechanics that you've already experienced on this adventure into one nice tight package. You got the Cloud Flower, you got the Spin Drill, you got the Dash Pepper, you got a bunch of cylindrical platforming. All these different fruits aside, some fairly challenging platforming on top of Yoshi. The Snake Block segment is one of the more stressful parts of the entire game because you never know where these stupid Magmar enemies are going to show up, and it's always a really fun challenge to see if you can bring Yoshi to the very end, because you can't bring him to the Bowser fight, but just bring him to the flagpole just gives you a sense of victory, you know? And if you know a thing or two about some exploits in the game, you can actually bring Yoshi to the final area of the game by just doing like a hover jump exploit, and that's really fun. You know, that's not part of the galaxy, you know, it's not part of the game itself, but it's worth mentioning. All culminating in a Bowser fight where, yeah, the first phase is the fight that you've already done twice before, and it's kind of whatever, it's very easy. But the second phase of the fight, where you're constantly like falling in this crazy black hole vortex and he's constantly getting closer to you and you have to time your ground pounds accordingly, otherwise you're gonna miss and then he's gonna punch you right in the face. Oh, it's so cool. The music is phenomenal. One of the most epic tracks in Mario history. The fight is obnoxiously easy, which is actually very annoying because if you're good at the game, you barely hear any of the good parts of the music, but still, it's a really cool set piece. As far as ramping up the general intensity to make the end of the game feel as satisfying as humanly possible, I believe Galaxy Generator succeeds at that. It's not the best Bowser Galaxy, of course, because we have a couple more left, but is the best one in Galaxy 2. Now, this may be a hot take, but let's go back to a Bowser stage from Galaxy 1. It may seem absolutely nonsensical with all the praise I gave the previous levels to say that the first Bowser Galaxy of Galaxy 1 is better than the final Bowser Galaxy of Galaxy 2, but that's just where I'm at. It's total bias and nostalgia because this was the first time we got to hear a remix of Bowser's Road in a Mario game since 64, and oh my god, it's so cool. Hearing that song again, with so many of the other Mario Galaxy tropes of the rotating cameras and whatnot, all on the stone flooring with the carpet guiding you along the way, and you're seeing the surroundings of this castle-like structure all around you, oh, it's so sick. The final stretch of platforming in this area, in my opinion, is just so special because off in the corner of your eye, you can see this giant stone pillar as you're steadily climbing up and avoiding the thwomps and the fire rods. That's where Bowser is. You're climbing this structure, and once he tells that you're getting very close, he starts to attack, and you get to see the white and green checkerboard patterns again, and it's not just a matter of getting to him, he's shooting fireballs at them, and you gotta go quick or you're gonna die. A common issue with the Galaxy games is that the Bowser fights, they are the same across all three Bowser Galaxies in each game, but hey, it's the first time you do this spherical fight in this game. I'll allow it. Look how weird and gooey and amorphous the center of this glass sphere is. I don't know what Bowser's got going on, but this is the first time in 3D Mario history where you can just spank him into defeat. It's very nice. Astute Mario Galaxy enjoyers will know that there's only one Bowser Galaxy left, and now once again, it's up to you to predict where it's gonna show up. Finally, we've gone past some of the Honeyhive Galaxy ripoffs lower in this list. Time to give respect to the OG. Honeyhive Galaxy is so much fun. A lot of your enjoyment will come from whether or not you enjoyed the B Mario power-up, and I do. So yeah, this place is great. And they knew this place was great because that's why Gold Leaf Galaxy is just a copy and paste swap with a different color palette. Like, they knew they were on something good with this. So a lot of my compliments from Good Leaf Galaxy do transfer over to Honeyhive as well, but there are some additional things that just generally make this more appeasing. Like running on top of the purple flowers to get coins and star bits. I don't know, just running in the same direction the flower's spinning. I just think that's satisfying. We got some vertical platforming on a honey wall, and that's cool. And once again, you know it's cool because they made a whole other mini galaxy just based on this one idea, but here it is, its debut. You gotta give respect to the OG. You get to deal with the infestation of the Mandibug army, and I really like these enemies. I just think they have a really cool design, and of course, culminating with the Bugaboom boss. Having a boss fight that is based on the B Mario outfit, where one of the main challenges is simply keeping the B outfit because there's little puddles of water all over the place. Super fun fight. But then you have a cosmic race here, and I think those are really fun. Having a 100 purple coin challenge in this big old sandbox, that's really fun too. And it's even one of the weird locations where Luigi can get lost and send you a message on the Wii message board to say, hey, I'm lost, I don't know how to get down from this tree, I guess. Honeyhive Galaxy has it all. Aw man, Good Egg Galaxy, where it all started. For games that have so many different ideas around the galaxy bending and planet traversing as these Galaxy games have, it's such a testament to how strong of an opener Mario Galaxy 1 has, that it introduced so many of these different ideas and wrapped it in just an absolutely gorgeous package with a beautiful skybox, a fantastic theme song. You get not one, but 2 boss fights, which beautifully utilize some of the brilliant mechanics of Mario Galaxy with the spherical planet of the Dino Piranha and the swinging of the controller with King Caliente. And dare I say, one of my favorite parts of the entire game is in the second mission where you're going from planet to planet and you can just see the handful of different planets off in the horizon. And it's not just a matter of, oh, you're gonna go to the next one. On your big swooping path to one of the planets, you can even pivot and take another launch star to a different planet. It's not like you're overloaded with choices here, but the fact that there's a choice here at all for you to, say, collect the 100 star bits you need to fill up the Luma for him to go off and explode into another planet. It's so good. So much love even has to go to the very starting area of the game. The main paths of progression in this Galaxy's missions are all about simply walking off the edge of the platform and then seeing, hey, there's stuff going on underneath, which is something that we're very much used to now, but a big deal for someone who's playing this for the first time. Obviously, not the best Galaxy in these games, but as far as a first Galaxy is concerned, hell, not even just in this game, I would say Good Egg Galaxy is one of the best starting levels in any platformer ever. Another relatively basic idea that I'm such a fan of is this basic combination of lava and ice. It lends itself to some really cool platforming opportunities, and Shiverburn Galaxy is proof of that. This starting area taking one of my favorite things, lava, which gives this a very ominous look. Let's scrap that. Let's pop this switch and now suddenly it's ice and you can go on top of it. I love that. Then you're skating on the ice and these lava meteors are coming down and making these pockets of lava that'll disappear after a little bit. Like visually, that's really awesome. So now balancing the momentum that you're carrying with the skating to swing back 5 melons and avoiding the fire melons, like, oh my god, it's actually pretty intense. And then a perfect way to cap off that same planet, now there's ice meteors that are creating ice platforms in the lava, just like we were seeing lava going onto the ice before. It's brilliant. Even the boss fight takes advantage of this. You take it out the same way you were taking out King Caliente in Galaxy 1, but because you're on ice, and because the boss is shooting out lava, now you gotta deal with lava showing up where you think you're safe. Oh, it's awesome. The only thing that's really holding Shiverburn back is there's not enough of it. There's another rainbow romp here for the comet mission. It's cool. I do enjoy that. Skating is fun and taking out all these enemies in a time limit, that's fun. But the only other mission is doing a chimp challenge. And I like the chimp, don't get me wrong, but I really wish that they did more with this ice and lava idea. This is spoilers for later on in the list. Oh yeah, this is also one of the locations you can see the creepy Hell Valley ghost things. I still have no idea what that is, man. It's been forever and we still have no idea. It's just creepy little guys watching over you. What the hell, man? Battle Rock Galaxy is one of the primary reasons why I prefer Galaxy 1 to Galaxy 2. Visually, it may not be as interesting as some of the other galaxies on this list, certainly not a whole lot of colors going on, but seeing off in the area surrounding you a whole bunch of rocky debris, and the one primary thing that you're keeping your attention on at all times is this crazy battle rock where the center of this gigantic structure is just shooting cannons off the entire time. It is a perfect atmosphere for this game. I mean, for crying out loud, the first mission is an auto-scroller. I hate most auto-scrollers, but because you can go on the opposite side, because you're also constantly collecting star bits the entire time, it takes a mechanic that I typically never like and turns it into one of my favorite challenges in the game. Getting to utilize the cannon with the pointer is really fun, and when you launch away from that planet, getting to see it explode behind you is such a cool shot. And just before you're done, you get to carry a little bomb around and blow up some glass. Who doesn't love a good little bit of destruction, you know? Very satisfying. And this shot of collecting the star and you're seeing these spinning gates surrounding you and there's a black hole in the distance. Like, oh god, this is perfect Mario Galaxy. Also, shout out to my boy Top Maniac, the boss fight of this galaxy. And also shout out to the very first appearance of Guillermo, who immediately just put you to work. This is another one of those challenges I feel like people can be very iffy on, but I really like blowing up all of this garbage with the bombs, because it's not so much a puzzle of just trying to figure out where to put the bombs to mathematically get the radiuses to blow up everything in a short amount of time. No, the gold spots that are already on the floor are where the bombs should go. Now it's all a matter of you just angling things correctly and being good at timing your throws. Completely changes the challenge potential of what this trash removal can be, and it turned it into something that I really enjoy. No matter how many times I played this game, it's always a fun speedrun challenge, and it's always something that I can get complacent in and screw up. But that makes Guillermo one of my favorite NPCs in these games. I love him. Look at him, look at him. Just a little guy trying to get his job done, and he's too lazy to do himself. I understand that, don't you? I have to imagine one of the biggest challenges with developing Mario Galaxy 2 from Nintendo is trying to even come close to matching the aura that they managed to perfect with the Gusty Garden Galaxy, and you know what? They did. Dude, Fluffy Bluff, just the music alone. I already kind of feel like I'm putting it too low on the list because, oh god, this is such a good level. A lot of my enjoyment is absolutely from blasting the soundtrack every time I go into it because it is absolutely one of the most beautiful pieces of music in Mario history. But going beyond that, this is also the introduction of Flaptax, the little flying bird enemy that hates you so much he's willing to give himself a concussion all in an attempt to take you out. That's a dedication I can appreciate. But of course, all jokes aside, all of the love for this galaxy goes to the introduction of the Cloud Flower. While many of the appearances of this power-up in the game are utilized as a way to just assist you in platforming, hey, you may not make this jump, go ahead and create this platform under you, you're gonna be just fine. Here, because the level design is so open, it becomes more of a playground. You want to scale this big tree with nothing but a bunch of backflips? You can. You want to bypass some of the pre-established clouds meant for platforming and make your own? You can. In addition to having those 3 clouds following you that you can summon as platforms, your fall speed has also been drastically reduced. So if you want to do a big old long jump and just see how far you can go because you're falling a lot slower, that's fun too! The Cosmic Clone Planet is really fun too because yeah, you're being chased by cosmic clones, you gotta get all 5 star chips, fine, but there's also this self-induced challenge, in my opinion, of seeing just how long you can keep the Cloud Flower before inevitably touching the water and getting rid of it until you get it again like 60 seconds later, but hey, it's a really fun challenge in that instance. More importantly, this is the introduction of the Chimp. Once again, an all-timer character in the Mario universe. Great power-up, fun level design, excellent music, Fluffy Bluff has you covered. Hey, Dreadnought Galaxy, it's the second galaxy in Galaxy 1 that Gearmo shows up. Hell yeah, that's my boy. Dude, Top Maniac shows up here too. Dude, we got all the hits here. Getting to explore the inside and surroundings of a giant mechanical battle station where the color palette is off the charts. Yeah, Dreadnought's pretty damn sick. This is one of the most platforming dense galaxies in the entire duology. There is so much going on here. One minute you're dodging these crazy yellow lasers, the next you're doing side scrolling and you're hitting these switches that are changing the gravity on the fly. Then you're jumping on top men to avoid falling down with these platforms that are jettisoning off into the void of space, and then there's a water planet? You threw a water planet in here too? The visual of consistently trying to get to the center of this planet where the star is and always having some of these weird eyeball lasers in your view. Oh, it's so sick. And while many of the galaxies in this game will have a second or third mission where you start off in the same area that you started off in the first mission, not here. Every single mission starts you off in a different spot. The second mission sees the return of the Bolt Lifts from Mario 3, before doing more cool side-scrolling, gravity-bending platforming. Do the third mission where there's just this huge stretch of land and you're trying to make sure you don't get hit by any of the circular lasers coming out from all sides is so cool. God, I love Dreadnought Galaxy. I know a lot of people aren't also a fan of the Pole Stars, but like I've said before, fan of those. You're not gonna see me talk smack about them either. We're really at a point in this list where I have basically nothing negative to say about any of these galaxies, so I'm gonna sound like a fool that's just blabbering on positively about everything, but I can't help it. Dreadnought Galaxy is absolutely sick. I dare you to argue a better wooden-themed level in gaming than Puzzle Plank Galaxy. I don't think you can do it. Listen, I love when Mario Galaxy really commits to the space thing and fills space with a bunch of objects that, you know, you could realistically think could be in space, like normal debris and whatnot. Not, you know, wooden shavings, but I'll take it. This area is awesome. A lot of my enjoyment does again come down to the soundtrack. The Puzzle Plank Galaxy theme is so damn good. But even beyond that, even though there's not a whole lot of platforming going on here, the stretch of challenging platforming where you're seeing these buzzsaws constantly sawing off the platforms that you're on, so you gotta go really quickly, this is one of the most iconic moments of this entire game, and it's at the start of World 2. Everything on top of that, quite frankly, seeing the return of the Mandibugs and you're doing this fight on this interesting blocky puzzle structure, it's a really unique arena. The Purple Coin Challenge where you're being chased by the Cosmic Clones, yeah, not a whole lot of wooden themed challenge going on here, but it's still really fun. But then seeing the return of Bugaboom, where this could have been a completely lazy return to a boss fight, just a reason for them to reuse the asset they already had on hand, you get to tackle it in a brand new way with the Cloud Flower. It does make the fight a lot easier in my opinion, so the challenge is definitely way down. But refighting one of my favorite bosses in Galaxy 1 with a brand new beautiful pink skybox, don't get me wrong, the wooden themed stuff from Puzzle Plank is really cool and I do wish there was more of it, but looking at every mission here, I love everything that Puzzle Plank has to offer. Alright, it's finally time. It is time for the top 10. Now, most of these are going to be from Galaxy 1, but of course, that means some from Galaxy 2 as well. Now, realistically, all of these are damn near perfection, so this placement could really swap on any given day, but this is what my current biases is saying. Finish your bets now, It's time to begin with number 10. One could argue that buoy-based Galaxy deserves to be in the top 10 alone just for its incredible music. Honestly, that does play a big part, but it's also really well designed. There's not even much Galaxy-ish gravity transformation stuff going on here. It's pretty standard. You go underwater, you get a torpedo TED to free this chunk of platforms, and then you do more vertical platforming around a giant cylinder. But both of those segments are done so well. The submerged bottom half of the buoy almost gives you like an air of mystery. Like when you go down there, you know you gotta look for something, and then boom, you find the glass orb, bring the torpedo TED there, you're good to go. But if you explore a little bit, there's a pipe all the way off in the distance, and doing that brings you to a secret area, and that's how you get one of the game's hidden green stars. Very cool. And then the vertical platforming is awesome because you can go about it however you want. There's a multitude of moving pieces here. There is no one way to scale this tower. And yeah, if you play the game with the music muted, it's still really cool, but not gonna lie, the music definitely helps. The song for Buoy Base, oh my god, it's one of the greatest songs in Mario history. It turns a vertical platforming segment from fun and challenging to actually kinda badass. And if you look off in the horizon, you see some Gearmos cheering you on, there's a whole bunch of cool space debris around you. It's just, God, Buoy Base is so damn sick. It's not here for a long time, but it's certainly here for a good time. I've made it very clear at this point that while I believe fire and lava could be pretty cliche for final world themes, especially in Mario, it can't be denied that Melty Molten Galaxy is the quintessential lava galaxy. You get fiery and smoky eruptions, there's collapsing paths all over the place. Visually seeing these colorful blocks intermingled with the rocky steps, it's such a cool look. Flying away from an exploding volcano and you're collecting star bits along the way, oh, it's so cool. It's at this point you get to look off in the horizon, look at the skybox, and just where exactly are you? These two parallel lava floors with whirlwinds of lava going between them? Oh man, this is so ominous. It's so dangerous. I love it. The spectacle is crazy. Oh, the planet with the rising and receding lava, so you gotta collect all the silver stars. The Pulsar segment when you're navigating between all of these meteors going from lava planet to lava planet. The rolling ball mission in the spherical lava dome. The collapsing lava spire is one of the most hectic segments in the entire game. The boss fight against the fiery Dino Piranha, which yes, it's just reusing the first fight all over again, but it's actually kind of tougher now because you're dodging some fire. You can't just immediately go and, hit the stupid little ball on his tail, you gotta wait a little bit. Melty Molten Galaxy perfectly tells the story that the climax of this massive adventure that you've been on is near. And the fact that this is one of the final galaxies, seeing the very first boss all over again, it's actually a neat bookend. Plus you got the purple coin mission, and I really enjoy those for the sandbox levels. The Daredevil run is awesome because they could have just used it for the boss fight, but no, you gotta actually platform with it, so it makes it a really fun challenge. And just, oh man. And the music is fantastic here as well. Melty Molten, dude. Incredible stuff, especially when you know that this is coming next. Yep, that's right. Bowser's Galaxy Reactor is my favorite boss level of the entire Mario Galaxy duology, the final galaxy of Galaxy 1, the perfect epic culmination of all of the trials and tribulations you went on to get here. This galaxy really ties together not only just a whole bunch of really great mechanics, like cylindrical platforming, having platforms appear from right under you, attaching yourself to spotlights so you can run on the wall, even the final run up to Bowser with the cannon shooting at you, but Bowser just sitting there, not averting his gaze once. I get it, man. Nintendo kind of wants Bowser to be a little bit of a goofball. This is the most serious Bowser's ever been, and I think that goes a long way. And seeing a bunch of different themes showing up as well. Castle, desert, lava, just a random void of space. There's so much going on here. I mean, the final boss is certainly not as strong as it was in Galaxy 2 because you're just doing the typical 3-hit structure on a planet 3 times. It only gets moderately more difficult each time, but it's still a cool set piece, I'm not gonna lie. And because it does go on longer, it still feels kind of satisfying, especially with Phase 3's music being as epic as it is. And then another nod to Mario Galaxy 1 over Galaxy 2, the storytelling is great. Bowser just kind of accepts his death, and then you get the whole cutscene with everything being sucked into a black hole and the Luma sacrifices itself to create a whole brand new galaxy. Like, the scale of the whole final 20-30 minutes of Mario Galaxy is immense, and I love it, and I love everything about it. Bowser's Galaxy Reactor, Mario Galaxy 1's on as strong of a note as possible. Welcome, new galaxy. All the talks I do about how much I love the atmosphere of these games, you already knew that Slimy Spring was going to be really high up on the list. It's often discussed if it really deserves that high of a praise because actually, it's a really short level, like you can blaze through it in just a couple minutes, but man, that atmosphere, It's like nothing else. The music is incredibly ambient, never picking up for the entire duration of the level. There are some obstacles in your path for sure, but it truly never gets challenging. They're just kinda in the way, just enough to keep your mind active while not forgetting that you do have a goal that you need to reach at the end of this tunnel, whatever that may be. The lighting is incredibly subdued, matching the ambient soundtrack beautifully, and then you get to the end. Oh, that reveal is magical. The ambient music is now gone. You're just hearing the chirps of birds and you see this beautiful sunrise on the horizon. All that's here is a treasure chest and hey, good old friend Captain Toad. Get out of that treasure chest, you silly goose. And then you can frolic in the flowers a little bit. Oh, it's nice. Obviously, mechanically speaking, there's not a whole lot here, but with the flack that water levels tend to get in platformers, this is proof that a water level can be one of the most unforgettable set pieces in an entire adventure that's already filled with a ton of unforgettable set pieces. I would even argue this is one of the most atmospheric levels in all of the Nintendo pantheon of everything they've ever done. Slimy Spring just evokes a vibe that, once again, unlike anything else. Oh man, listen, Fluffy Bluff Galaxy, super beautiful, I love it, but Cloudy Court, this nails the vibe so much harder while just being Fluffy Bluff Plus. On the platforming side of things, the Cloud Flower is back and you get to make way more liberal use of it. There's so many more opportunities to platform with these clouds, especially with these big windmills that are now pushing the clouds away. That's a nice little addition to the platforming methinks. But then also, the musical vibe we got going on here, why not? The music is as incredible as it is. Throw in some drums, throw in a cymbal that you can ground pound to make star bits appear. Why not? But where Cloudy Court really shines is in the side-scrolling segment, where beforehand the clouds are definitely there for some aerodynamic platforming, and it is really fun to see just how far you can do a long jump before needing to pop up another flower. That's always a good time, but now you have to properly use your clouds in a skill-based manner so you can get from point A to point B in one piece and not float off into the unknown or get squashed by these walls. It's the balance between the freedom and the precision that makes navigating Cloudy Court as satisfying as it is. And then you get the second mission with the cosmic clones that are chasing after you. Really generous of them to already add a bunch of clouds, but what if you want to go anywhere you want with your own clouds? It's such a fun challenge. Cloudy Court is certainly one of Mario Galaxy 2's best, but not its number one best, because my number one galaxy in Galaxy 2 goes to... You got lava, you got incredible music that's unique to this stage, and it's positioned beautifully as the first galaxy of World 6, Melty Monster Galaxy, dude. Oh man, this is a 10 out of 10 galaxy, dude. The scale is absolutely massive, the music is unique to this stage, and it is an absolute jam. This magma gauntlet is absolutely incredible. You got this beautiful Polestar segment where you're avoiding these Magmar enemies, then you gotta navigate across a treacherous river of lava that's constantly got a massive wave going, and then trying to jump from mini planet to mini planet with these Magma enemies. They're just going about your business, but oh man, they hurt like a bitch. This is, without a doubt to me, the best pure challenge galaxy in this entire game. And that's just Mission 1. Mission 2 gives you the most challenging Rock Mario segment of the entire game, and then if you want to go for the Seeker Challenge, the Chimp is back! Hell yeah, this is the most perfect Mario Galaxy 2 galaxy there is. I do wish it was positioned a little bit differently as the penultimate galaxy of World 6, but that's so minor in the grand scheme of things. This is still just an incredible time. But that being said, this is the final galaxy of Mario Galaxy 2. There are so many incredible locations in this game, no doubt about it, but when it comes down to my pure favorite, just the ones that evoke the most emotions to me, the final four, all from Galaxy 1. Sorry Mario Galaxy 2, you couldn't last longer on this list, but damn it, you're still an incredible video game. My hat with the Luma inside goes off to you. I apologize for the great tonal shift you're experiencing now, but Toy Time Galaxy, this place is just fun. Toy Time Galaxy is just an absolute explosion of color and childlike wonder, and yes, of course, there's toys all over the place. It's beautiful, but it still manages to keep the Mario Galaxy idea going of, what is this area that we're in? We're in like a child's bedroom, kinda? There's colorful tiles on the wall, you can see a window and you can look off in the stars back there, and the camera work is so beautiful for the stage because almost at every single moment, you can always see another planet off in the horizon. When are you gonna get to explore that? I don't know, but you know it's gonna be soon. Every single planet is a brand new toy. You got magnetic floors, you got a big toy train, you got a big dinner plate for some reason. I'm okay with that. There's a giant mechanical Bowser, which is very much weaker than the mechanical Bowser from Mario Sunshine, but I mean, At least he's trying. That one dinner plate was kind of weird, but hey, how about this whole desert area now where you're exploring on top of cake and ice cream and everything is all cold now? It's beautiful. Oh, how can I forget about the 8-bit Mario segment? Like, it's kind of neat that they went ahead and made Mario Squared Galaxy later on in Galaxy 2, but this is where it comes from. I kind of like the challenge more here too, by the way. The green platforms disappear if you touch them, the yellow platforms are constantly spinning if you touch them. So while this may seem like a little bit of a fun sandbox, okay, figure out how to get all 5 silver stars, you gotta really plan your route, and one small misstep could spell disaster. The music for the Galaxy 2 Super Mario 2007, a simple remix of the main theme from the original Super Mario Bros, should be something that I wouldn't be that impressed with, but it matches the aesthetic of everything here perfectly. So much of the original Mario Galaxy is about expressing a whole bunch of creativity while maintaining a really beautiful atmosphere. And while that will be the main selling point of the top 3 galaxies of this game, I still gotta hand it to Toy Time Galaxy for just being an explosive creativity of just straight up joy and fun in Mario. It's still a Mario game, damn it. Oh, I love it here. It's like I'm a kid all over again. You want to talk about why Mario Galaxy 1 is so loved for its atmosphere, you have to look no further than Space Junk Galaxy. In any other context, it could be seen as lazy. There's not really a coherent vision going on here, it really is. Just a bunch of junk in space and you're traveling across it. But that's what makes it so beautiful. Stripped away is all of the chaos of intense platforming and ominous lava and all that sort of stuff. The pacing is incredibly calm, the melody is like kind of haunting and beautiful at the same time, mimicking the typical quietness of space. And there's still a beauty in the platforming on this random floating debris. Random electrical orbs in the sky, random stone pillars that you're pole-starring between. Mission 1 really sets the stage of just a beautiful atmosphere-first galaxy, and then Mission 2 says, hey, the opposition wants to know your location. Now the airships are here. I mean, it kind of fits. I mean, these big wooden structures can still be space junk. You know, I, for one, personally find more interesting the rocket ship that you get to travel on in the first galaxy, because that's just straight up the Hokotate ship from Pikmin 2. Oh, I love that. But it's all about Mission 3, the quest to find and destroy Terrantox. If you couldn't tell at this point, I'm a big fan of pointer gimmicks in these games, and even though the Sling Pod Galaxy is incredibly low on the list for just how boring it can be, suddenly you put it in this atmosphere, and then you give it some tension with this boss fight, it suddenly becomes incredible. The negative space of space really amplifies the entire vibe of Space Junk Galaxy. The immersion is immense. Truly the definition of a space-themed platformer, Space Junk perfectly sits at the number 3 spot on this list. My number 2 galaxy in the entirety of Super Mario Galaxy is Gusty Garden Galaxy. That's right, it's not number 1, but damn, it was close. I mean, really, what is there to say about Gusty Garden? They hit the nail on the head so perfectly. It does every single thing right, and it certainly helps that the theme song is right up there as one of the greatest video game songs ever composed ever. But on top of just the beautiful orchestral music, you got these open sky meadows. You get to grab onto some flowers and fly away. So many grassy planets that are small but have 2 sides, so you get to constantly mess with gravity. But also many of those are purely optional. They're just there if you want to have fun. And there are so many individual planets that are standout moments in the entire adventure. You got the big Q planet where you're chasing against a star bunny. You got the random apples they can ground pound and send these space worms out of them. There's a damn whole question mark in this place, man. Just a big old question mark. What's it doing there? That's the question mark. What's it doing there? That's the question mark. The Major Burrows fight is really cool too, because listen, I love a lot of the bosses in this game when it comes to utilizing some of the brand new gimmicks, like some of the brand new power-ups, but a big strength to Major Burrows is there's no major gimmicks. It's midway through the game and it's just basic run away, ground pound, hit his ass. That's it. Nice and simple. Oh man, and then you dive on into the next mission and there's just so much interesting platforming going on. Certainly not a whole lot of Gusty and Garden going on here, but who can deny just some really colorful, unique platforming that you can't find anywhere else? Fun purple coin challenge, fun mission where you gotta destroy the golden chomp for a secret star. I mean, come on now, Gusty Garden is damn near perfect. A lot of people put it as their number 1 just for the song alone. It helps that there's a good level attached to it, but I gotta show my bias here. I gotta make this list personalized, you know? My actual favorite galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy is Freeze Flame Galaxy. My pick for the perfect example of every single thing Super Mario Galaxy represents. There are just so many ideas crammed into this galaxy while sticking to the core idea of being in space with these random galaxies. The developers were afforded so much freedom. It's the dual world structure that I love so much. Mission 1, all about ice. Your mission is to go and defeat Baron Burr. You get this giant icy playground and you get the introduction of the ice flower, so now you can run atop of the already really freaking frigid water. And the Bear and Burr fight is actually one of my favorite ones in the game, by simply just having a smaller arena and made things feel more tense. It's a minor thing, I know, but I can't help it. I love this little icy rock guy. Mission 2, all about lava. Look at that zoom in as you're flying into the lava planet. Oh, that's such a cool visual. Once again, we have a giant 3D area to just platform on. We got the introduction of the fire flower with those really cool lighting torches under a time limit idea. The horizon still being those whirlwinds of lava just look gorgeous to my eyes. And then mission 3, hot and cold collide. Now both those worlds are meshed together. The lava has infiltrated the ice sections, then you get transported to this one planet where the top side is ice and the bottom side is fire, so you gotta go to the bottom side for the fire to get the fire flower and then go back up to the ice side to light up some torches. That's really cool. And then a good old-fashioned race against time on top of lava and ice platforms at the same time. The power-up balance between fire and ice Mario is just so satisfying because it doesn't feel like it's a forced afterthought because they've already come up with the idea of a galaxy based around lava and ice. Dare I say, this is some environmental storytelling at work. And this part shouldn't surprise you, the purple coin mission is my favorite one in the game. I really am a big fan of the purple coin challenges that have no time limit and just give you a giant sandbox to get all the coins at your own pace, and giving you more opportunities to just explore this giant mountain and get up to the summit. Like, there is a mission to do just that, but the purple coin challenge, it's the best one in the game. Such a simple idea. Take an ice world, take a fire world, throw them together. But it's just so beautifully done with great music, great backgrounds, great utilizations of the power-ups, a really fun boss fight, really fun extra challenges. I know Gusty Garden is everyone's favorite, but damn it, Freeze Flame is mine. Keep in mind, I'm also a Lethal Lava Land from Mario 64 kind of guy. That's my favorite level in that game, so I think I just have a type. But seriously, the top 4 galaxies on this list could really be number 1 on any given day. They all represent different elements of why Super Mario Galaxy 1 is my favorite game of all time. Pure imagination and an overwhelming color palette with Toy Time Galaxy. Serene vibes and atmospheric platforming with Space Junk. Pure beauty with fun level design and incredible music to combine together to give you the real sense of adventure. Thank you so much, Gusty Garden Galaxy. And then just a masterclass of level design and visual contrast and utilizing what Mario's been used to in the past to make something new with Freeze Flame Galaxy. All of these elements are what makes Super Mario Galaxy so special. And yeah, that's the end of the list. Man, even with some of the weaker entries on this list, the Super Mario Galaxy duology are some of the finest games the entire gaming industry has ever put out. They are still better than the sum of their parts. And again, it's a ranking video, I know, very low-hanging fruit, but this is just how I wanted to celebrate these games, some of my favorite games of all time, including my number 1 game of all time. Just felt right at this very moment. Not very creative, but whatever. And there's also the Mario Galaxy movie, and then they made a physical Rosalina book, and then there's Amiibo on top of all of that. And listen, I'm just gonna say this much: if the Mario Galaxy movie doesn't have a post-credit scene where it just fades to black and goes, Super Luigi Galaxy, then you idiots at Illumination, you have missed the entire point.